Welcome back, everyone, to the Builders Coach Show. I'm Jess, and I'm here today with Kurt from Builders Coach. Hi, Kurt. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. And you, Jess? Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. And if you're new, welcome to the Builders Coach Show.
Yeah, I'm very good. So as some of you might know, Kurt and I were away for a couple of weeks, for two and a half weeks. We went to South Africa for a family trip, but also to get married.
Yes. So congratulations to us.
So today I want to do things a little bit differently. I thought we'd just talk about our trip, but also some of the key lessons learned from the trip. You know, we had a bit of a debrief before this, but
Absolutely,
I think there's a few things that would be good for us to discuss here as it relates to life in general and business also.
Absolutely, yeah.
So do you want to kick it off, Kurt?
Yeah, why not? Well, I think it was fascinating because I grew up in South Africa, right? I spent 30 years there. And I've been in Australia for 23. I went back every year for the first 14 years that I was living in Australia. And the thing that struck me on this trip was that, when I was growing up there, and the thing that got me to leave was, just looking into the future. And then I suppose also growing up in a country next door to Zimbabwe and looking what happened there. And a lot of people felt like maybe it was going to go the same way, but it's not the case, right? Like we went back there now. It was just phenomenal to see like the positivity, the people, the leadership. We did a bit of a road trip, right? And there was just roadworks happening. If anything, it looked like, obviously they've got their challenges and unemployment's high and it's Africa, right? So it's not a first world country, but it was a phenomenal trip. And Cape Town itself did not feel like a third world country. There was a moment there where you were like, hey, I could live here. Right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I fell in love with Cape Town like 18 years ago when I went there the first time. Going back was awesome. There's just something about that city that's just, it's really welcoming. The people are amazing. The food was amazing. And it's so beautiful also.
Absolutely. So very unique in its beauty, right?
Yeah,
and it's got a charisma. It's and a vibe as well. I was speaking to Blake, one of our joint venture partners, just before this, and I said to him, "You've got to go." So anyone who's going to stand so long enough to listen to me, I was saying, you've got to go to South Africa. I know it's a bucket list country for a lot of people, and I'm obviously biased. Like they say, once your heart's in Africa, it's always there. But to any South Africans listening, if you haven't been back to South Africa for a while, it gets a lot of bad press. Don't listen to the bad press. Just go, man. It's like, did you at any time feel unsafe? And we were there with our kids, right? We had people coming from Europe, from Portugal, from Manchester, from Australia. You had girlfriends come by themselves.
Yes.
It was very safe, and just like everyone had a fantastic time. And I suppose the most unique part about it is the wildlife. So going in and doing a safari, seeing the animals. The kids absolutely loved that.
Yeah, that was awesome. So maybe, do you want to go through a few key lessons? I think one of the first things, and obviously we were going there to get married on the 23rd of November. So that was kind of at the back end of our trip. So there was a lot of planning and preparation, but also obviously so many people came to Cape Town for us, right? For the day. We took the kids, we took our family, my sister, your brother, our niece, nephews, parents, some friends that you hadn't seen for such a long time. So it's just a lot of people coming in. I think the week just before the wedding was just hectic, just busy. Not only with the wedding coming up, but just this. I think people just on random days asking, what are we doing tonight? What are we eating? What are we doing tomorrow? Who's going in which car? Where are we driving to? How long is it going to take? Let alone the actual wedding getting prepared, the shoes, the outfits, etc. But like all these other mundane things, but they were to cater for 15 people, I think, at one stage.
It was unbelievable. Like in terms of like project management, just managing all the people, and everyone had questions. And then like a normal wedding anyways, like, it's a to-do list as long as you're on, but a destination wedding like ours was just next level. But I think one of the highlights was definitely catching up with family and friends. I mean, one of my friends, Ronald, I hadn't seen him in 20 years. And we had such a fantastic time just reconnecting. When we left, he said, this is the best catch up that we've ever had together. And we grew up together. We went to the same school. So it was very heartwarming. And of course, like seeing my mother, your parents, your sister, it just, emphasize the importance of doing things like that, like reconnecting with family and friends. And I think it's easy to just get caught up on the hamster wheel of life, right? Yeah. And, the pursuit of excellence and, getting the business optimized and everything else. So you've got to really make time to do things like that. So we've got to book something else in. Like, what's the next big catch up? Like, we joked about renewing our vows like every year for the next 10 years. Right?
I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that every year, but so one of my key takeaways was really planning is crucial. I think we had a wedding planner and we did a lot of planning prior to leaving. Yeah. Obviously, for the last 6 months, all we've been talking about is planning this trip. And we had, because we were doing a road trip, right? We went to the Lost City, we went to Kruger National Park.
Lost City, amazing.
We did the garden
route.
City, we did the garden route. Then we ended up in Camps Bay, and then we had the wedding. Nice, and then after that, we still had a safari with the family and Camps Bay again. So a lot of different parts to it. And I think we planned it pretty well, right? Yeah. You do agree with that?
Absolutely. Lots of brine. We saw the Box play England. That was awesome. First game I've seen the Springboks play in South Africa. They weren't playing in South Africa, but I was there, with a South African crowd around me. It was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So we got to enjoy a lot. But yeah, you spot on. Like the planning, and this is the time of year now where everyone needs to sharpen the sword and plan for next year. Mm-hmm. But having someone to help us, like the wedding planner, was crucial. Like without her, and her team, it would have come apart because it got pretty hectic towards the end. That week before the wedding, got a little bit hairy, right? We hit some turbulence.
And I'd even say that it's probably the things that we plan a bit too late or we didn't plan as well that actually everything went extremely well, but like that didn't take off as well as other things. So again, planning so important. I'd even say, and I don't know if you're aware of this, like just to give you a bit of an insight, but I had planned for a shuttle to go pick up our guests from their hotels just on the day of the wedding, right? Mm-hmm. So that nobody had to drive to the wedding venue. Yeah. And that's probably something that I did just before we left, but the wedding planner had asked me to give phone numbers for people just to make sure that they could contact them. And so I had given all of that. But one of my friends from Belgium, I think at the last minute, like 1 or 2 days before the wedding, said to me, look, don't use this phone number, but use this other one from her partner because that's the one that we're going to be using when we're traveling, right? Yeah. And so she gave me that like a couple of days before. And to be totally honest, in the rush of everything, I completely forgot and it completely slipped through the cracks. And so I don't know if you remember, my friends were late at our thing.
Yeah. Yes. Was that because you forgot the number?
Yes. So they couldn't get in contact with the person I was doing the shuttle and they must have missed each other. And so, they nearly didn't make the wedding ceremony. So just to tell you, see, like it's like if I look at a couple of things, if I look at a couple of things that not went wrong, but were a little bit more dodgy, I can trace it back to something that maybe didn't plan as well or just too late or, that fell through the cracks basically.
Yeah, I mean, I had an epiphany in my late 20s where I realised, because I'm quite impulsive, as you know, and I'm like a doer. Like I do things first, then I'll sort of look at, maybe I should course correct. So I've got that sort of natural impulsive nature. But I realised that at some point that me deciding that planning is more important than execution, or assigning more importance to planning than execution. And it's relevant to like any builders listening, like the pre-construction phase is the most important part of the build process. The programming, scheduling, pricing, getting the numbers right, positioning clients through a client collaboration agreement, trade agreements. If all that's done well, the job runs smoothly. So I think we did a great job with the wedding, but it got hairy in that lead up the week before. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of an event that I did once. So, we do a lot of events and the one event I was sick as a dog, but it was, I had to travel there to location. There's 50, 60 people in the room. I think I had flu, but, I couldn't cancel the event. I just had to push through and I was running the whole day from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. And I was like, wow, at the end of it, I just fell over in a heap. And then I always do a SWOT analysis, right? Like a hot wash. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, what could we learn from this experience? And it dawned on me, I was like, imagine if that was bad, the way I felt, and it took everything for me to concentrate and to deliver at the level that I normally do, right, from the front of the room. Yeah. but I thought, like, what if I had diarrhea? What would I have done? Thinking, like, what's a worst case scenario? And then from that point on, I'd always say, hey, we've got to prepare for diarrhea.
I remember you telling me that. I was like, that's a horrible thing to do.
It is a horrible thing, but I mean, it can happen. It's the reality, right? So what are you going to do?
What do you do? Cancel?
You want to be positive, like, plan for the worst, but expect the best sort of thing. But then we had people get a stomach bug on the week before the wedding. Well, we weren't sure if it was like, there was something I ate or was it something else. So we got hit with that, which just added another layer of complexity.
Yeah, definitely did. But yeah, so that's definitely one thing. So planning is crucial.
Yeah.
I do think that there's so much planning that you can do, and then after that it depends.
And people.
The people are important. Obviously, you have to have people. You need to be able to delegate.
Have a good team.
Have a good team. Delegate. Like, thank God we had our wedding planner and like the people that looked after us on the day, etc., were just amazing. The venue was amazing, etc. So that's really important too. I was going to say also that we took a lot on. Well, I personally think we did. I think I could have probably delegated more stuff and not like stress out so much at just prior to the wedding. Delegate or avoid. There's some things that are probably not necessary to organize just before that, but
I think mindset as well is an important one, like in a crisis. Like I wasn't nervous on the day, right, just before we went into the ceremony. The night before I told you about that.
Yeah.
But then half an hour before we got up to the ceremony location, and I had my best man and one of the groomsmen, like, we put my bow tie on and it snapped. And this is like 25 minutes before we had to be there. We still had to get into a bus to take us up there. And then I had the wrong pants as well from the suit hire place.
Yeah.
And my brother and the groomsmen were panicking. They were like all over the show. The videographer was there, the photographer. And for whatever reason, I was able to stay calm and we found a solution. Look, we were able to fix both those things and I got there on time. And you only found out afterwards, right?
Yeah, true. But, I mean, the solution was cutting into your pants, I think. So, I mean, it was pretty...
One of my daughters got a pair of scissors, pulled the pants down, but was able to, fix the problem.
Yeah.
And it looked okay and went unnoticed. But it was mayhem and chaos.
Yeah.
And I think if I didn't, stay... I was the only calm person because the guys around me were panicking. They were like, this is... they couldn't see a solution and emotions were flaring. And I'm not trying to talk myself up for whatever reason. I don't know why. Sometimes you just feel calm. I just felt confident that we'd sorted it out and we managed to do it, in the nick of time. But looking back, again, like you can only plan so much. But then when things go wrong, which they inevitably will, the right mindset can help you get through it and not make it worse, because that could have got a lot worse.
Yeah. Yeah, mindset. Also, I think just mental health, right? Yeah. I mean, there was so much stress prior to...
Cufflinks as well, I just remembered. They couldn't find their cufflinks. Were stapling their shirt sleeves together.
Yeah, no, you make it sound like it was just a small problem, but really...
It was multifaceted.
The best man didn't have his little jacket. There were no cufflinks. They were stapled together. Your pants were like cut so that they were longer. Like, it was pretty... But somehow... You can't notice.
And then you're about to come around the corner and your friends weren't there.
And I was just coming out of the vehicle we were in, and then I see my friends that were like just arriving just on time. So it's funny stuff.
What else? What other learnings?
Other learnings. I was going to say mental health. I think you forget or you don't know how much you're going to be impacted by just stress. And I'm a bit of a people pleasing also. So I took on a lot of responsibility. Absolutely. We got all these people coming to Cape Town for us. We've told everyone it's an amazing place. They're going to like it. And then you take on this responsibility of making sure that everyone's happy, and organizing everything for everyone, etc., which was probably a bit much, considering that on top of that, I was still dealing with the wedding planner and all the last minute stuff that needed to be confirmed. So it was probably more stressful than I thought it was going to be. And
So
that kind of impacted me also. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you probably it's a bit of more than you could chew, didn't realize until you were in it. So that's sort of the lesson there. So and that does, I think, describe your nature and character, which is not uncommon for a woman, right? To be very nurturing and to want to give more. And I don't know whether it's people pleasing, but, and not only, it sounds sexist, just women. I know there's a lot of guys that do that as well. I had a conversation with someone just this week where the guy didn't turn up for the coaching call, but his wife was there. And then she said, his team's pushing him around. The trades, the guys, they have no respect for him. They walk all over him. And he just doesn't set strong enough boundaries. So he's trying to please and help. And I know guys do it in sales as well. The way that they try to deliver value is to please people, but they don't set a boundary because it's uncomfortable. And then things get out of control very quickly. So it was interesting because some of the people that came to our wedding were givers and others were takers. Right? There's certain people who give an inch, that take a mile. So we're surrounded by people that were either creating any more inefficiency and putting more on your plate, and others were there aware of what was going on and then helping take things off our plate. So people are so important now.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because people that are more takers, and then they'll say, "Oh my God, it was an amazing trip, amazing wedding, etc." Which is awesome. This is what we wanted, right? Yeah. But I did feel like, after the wedding, the day after, I was just drained. I was so tired, and I was like, now I want a holiday. Like, where's the holiday now?
We should have more of a holiday before, like after.
Afterwards, yeah. But the wedding day, I felt very looked after. All the people we had around us were amazing. Like even the wedding planner, obviously, but people that were doing my hair, my makeup, everyone, the photographer, etc. Everyone was lovely. So that was really nice. But I felt really, really tired afterwards.
Another highlight for me, the animals, like going into the wild, into the bush, and seeing the big five. And there's a lot of unique marsupials, especially here in Australia, in Australasia. But the animals there are just like next level. That's suicide bird. Bird that there's a certain noise it responds to, and it flies up like in an upward spiral, and then just comes down with its feet out, mimicking like a suicide drop.
Yeah. So just putting context around that. So we were in the Kruger and we're in this safari truck, right?
On safari,
and there's this bird that looks like just a random bird, basically, but he's a suicide bird.
But it's not a small bird; it was big. It was like a chicken.
Yeah, actually, it looks a bit like a
shape.
A chicken. But so basically, we come close, and he gets scared, and then his defense mechanism is kind of to show off by flying off and then pretending to kill himself. He literally went up high and then dropped as if
just
he was straight down, so that you impress, you go, wow. And that's his trick. How funny is that?
One trick pony, but it's really cool.
It's hey, can you do this?
And there's so many characters like that. Like the animals are all like these different characters, right? There's all the cats and there's big, small, right from the insects and the bird life and everything else. And it sort of mimics the people. I found the people are like that because they call South Africa the Rainbow Nation. So you got all these different characters and cultures and African tribes, and they all seem to live together in harmony. That was the other thing that was very inspirational. They all mostly very happy, jovial, and when those point of sale moments, like when you paying for something at a checkout or at a KFC, it doesn't matter, and the people are they're cracking a joke, or you see banter between the people behind the counter, right? Yeah. Which you don't see as much when you go to Europe or it's just in first world countries, because most of the people, that's at the bottom of the food chain. Yeah. But that's the majority of the people there, but they're grateful, just to be there.
Yeah. Do you remember the waitress at Wimpy that was talking to me, asking me, I asked for a coffee, I think. And she asked me, do you want, this milk or that milk? And I didn't understand her because it was a heavy accent. Yeah. And so I think I responded something different, and she just cracked up. She was just laughing.
Oh, yeah. They got a different sense of humor as well. So
she thought it was it was the funniest thing ever. She's just cracking up, laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
And anyone thinking of traveling, like if you're on a Australian dollar, US dollar, New Zealand or euro, it's like unbelievably cheap, right? Especially the food. Some of the things not as much. They obviously, it's becoming like a global community, so they're getting in line with, international pricing. But the food and drink and which was amazing, right? How much amazing food do we have? Great steaks.
Oh, amazing.
Lots of options on wine and all their cocktails and that were quite cheap. But the kids, we gave them some spending money the one day, and one of my daughters was like, there's nothing I want to buy. I want to give the money away, because we're giving money to people like at traffic lights, right? Like 100 Rand is what, $10 less. And they're so grateful. Some of them got tears of gratitude. And being able to do that, like give people money, the way it makes you feel is priceless, because you don't really get to do that in a first world country as much, right? And that was like a unique experience for the kids. It gave them perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah. No, I think the kids had an awesome time, and experiencing, different environments, seeing the animals. We were so lucky also, I think, for them. The first time we go to the Kruger with the kids, and we saw like leopard from like meters.
Wow. Yeah, just
like
eaten.
the
So
lion.
Normally they're so shy. Yeah.
We so many rhinos we saw also.
Oh, like 7, just driving through to the game park,
all the lioness also that we saw, the buffalo. It was just unbelievable. We were so lucky, really.
Yeah.
The kids are going to think it's like, that's just normal. That's just what happens when you go. But yeah.
And I really wanted to see a springbok, right? Like, and you don't see them in the Kruger because they live in the Karoo. And then the day after the wedding, we went to that farmstead, and they had 6 springbok in the back garden.
Yeah.
And a zebra and an ostrich and an eland, which is like the biggest antelope that you find in South Africa. That was cool. They had like a full bra area, so like a barbecue setup and swimming pool and kids play area. That was good fun.
Cool. So going back to a couple of things we said, and because we're mixing it up.
Starting to reminisce
I know,
now.
we're just like going around. But planning is crucial. Obviously, you have the right people, the right team. Super, super important. And
keeping a cool head.
Yeah, your mindset. So trying to not let stress affect you too much. And then just like the people, the energy we got from South Africa was amazing. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was really people and personalities. Like what you just mentioned, there's takers and givers, and that's not always easy to deal with. But yeah, it's we obviously had our 2 families coming together, very, very different characters.
Different cultures.
Yeah, and it is a little bit like managing a team, right? Because you'll have all these different personalities, and you have to make sure that, I guess everyone gets along and things still go as they should.
Yeah, but I think underneath the language barriers, because your friends and family speak French, largely, I mean, your dad's English, but and then the cultural differences underneath that, they were all there for us. So there was that underlying sort of values alignment, which was good. Yeah.
Awesome. Any other key takeaways from the trip?
I was just thinking before about what else. I've got to say, like, coming back to mindset, I was really impressed with you, like the day before the wedding, when, like, obviously the pressure was on, there was a lot going on, and then you were able to, I don't want to say get out of your own way, but not allow, like, the pressure and the stress of the moment and everything that was going on, because it was just ridiculous. There was so much happening, to be able to rise above that and then to get into a place where we were like, this is going to be amazing. And it was. It was, and it was, because you can let that sort of thing get on top of you. You can let the pressure of the moment and the fact that you've got all these people, being demanding and expecting things of you when you've got 1,000 things you need to do and focus on. And I was just really impressed in how you handle that.
Oh, that's nice. I have to say I was probably more stressed out like the week prior, but the Friday when we got to the wedding venue, I felt like, it's kind of like, that's it, I'm on the train now and it's going, and like there is no turning, but like, it's going to happen now. So that's it. Because I wasn't feeling great either, like the night before the wedding. Like I told you, I was like awake at like 1 a.m., not feeling 100%. So, but yeah, pulled it off and it went really well eventually. So
it was amazing. Unbelievable.
No, it's cool. Cool. I think that's it. I did have like some question for you. I want to try something new, like some rapid fire questions.
I heard you had something that you're going to like spring on me.
Yes.
I love it. Let's
are you
go.
keen?
Yeah, I like surprises.
Okay, so you know the concept, right? So I'm just going to ask you a question. You have to answer like immediately. This could go wrong because Kurt is quite impulsive, so he might say the wrong
full
thing.
Full disclosure before the fact. There's no filter a lot of the time, so be careful. Beware what you ask.
Yeah. Now you're making a second guess myself, but let's do it, okay?
This is going to be fun.
Okay. Actually, I got more than 5, but we'll see what we go through.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we obviously went on a little bit of a diet before the wedding. So, what's the very first thing you ate after our wedding diet, and did it live up to the expectation?
After the wedding diet, so when we broke.
Yes.
From the diet?
When you broke from the diet, what was it?
Oh, I'm trying to think when it was, because it was before the wedding. I didn't diet up until the wedding.
So this is not rapid fire.
Yeah.
You have to give me an answer.
I've tried them. I think it was carrot cake. I remember the thing that if it was the thing that I remember eating and enjoying most, carrot cake springs to mind. I had a massive piece of carrot cake at the airport, I think in Joburg, before we flew down to Port Elizabeth or something like that, and it was phenomenal. It was fresh and moist, and you could taste the nuts.
I remember you eating it. It wasn't a rush, but
that's my favorite cake as well. And I hadn't had one for like months, and I really enjoyed it. And a cup of coffee with it as well. It was awesome. But also, we cut out alcohol, sugar, and mostly carbohydrates. So there would have been.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say.
I mean, South African beer is nowhere near Belgian beer, so it wouldn't have been beer. Although I enjoy a cold beer on a hot day, but no, that was a carrot cake.
Question number 2. What's the most surprising thing about South Africa that people might not know?
Immediate thought was like how beautiful it is, but I think people hear about that. Probably the most surprising, and the thing that surprised me is that I felt very safe, because you get, and I suppose it's a reflection of the media. You get a lot of bad press. If it bleeds, it leads. So you're only hearing the worst stories, not only from the media, but like a family over there still. And my mother will say, hey, this and that. And then, there's some people were like, hey, have you got guns when you go over? And it's just that I was surprised at how different it is. And then how harmoniously the people live together. Like there's no animosity. Obviously, you get some people that are just dicks, you know what I mean? But for the most part, they all seemed like happy, and I don't know, maybe I'm looking through the lens of being on holiday and the lead up to the wedding, so we were all happy and positive, and then maybe that's what we were projecting. But I did see a lot of that and felt like, and I suppose felt at home, like it's me going home, right? So where I grew up. But
actually, I just remembered
it's a different place to when I grew up. Completely different place, but it was better, I think, better. Yeah.
Do you remember when we got to the gates of the Kruger and we realized we had like a flat tire?
Yes.
And then we got these 3 rangers from
they didn't even hesitate.
They didn't even ask you or anything. They just like looked at it and started like replacing. Yeah, they were on it, like grabbing the tire, etc. And this is like a big car, right? Yeah. So yeah.
Hey, I think out loud, right? So the answer to that question, what do I think is the most surprising thing? South Africa has got better. All right. So again, any South African listening that hasn't been there for a long time, prove me wrong. Go there, check it out. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Question number 3. If you could bring one South African tradition or one thing they do into our lives, what would it be?
I think it's the sense of humor. It's a cultural thing. Like the people laugh a lot. They have a lot of fun. Yeah. And I think, sadly, for whatever reason, in first world countries, I'm not pointing at Australia only, but there's a lot of depression, mental health issues. And it's strange. It's counterintuitive. We've got everything we want, and they have so much less over there, but they're happy. You hear it all the time. Like people go to Fiji or Bali or other developing countries. And okay, the people seem so happy. Or India, right? There's the what was that group of guys that you pointed me to?
The Resilience Project.
Resilience Project. Yeah. If you read the guy's book and he talks about the young guy he met in India, he had so little but was so happy and so grateful. I think it's that. Like if we could somehow bring that in and infuse it into the psyche of the people here, it would be utopia.
Yeah. Question number 4.
Yeah.
what was your favorite part of our wedding day?
Seeing you walk down the aisle.
Good answer.
No, without a doubt. So the celebrant said to me, hey, this is going to go quick, stay in the present, stay in the present. So I was doing like mindfulness breathing, like 1, 2. And I was looking at the mountains, just behind, like straight ahead of me and the cloud. It was a beautiful day. Like the weather came through for us like nothing else. And then I remember when you were like, I was looking into your eyes and then I was just like, wow, this is happening. And I was just doing everything I could to stay in the present moment. So that ceremony was amazing. That would be a highlight. And then, just seeing everyone together later as well. But the ceremony, seeing you walk towards me.
It was pretty nice. And then it was so nice to see everything come together, right? All the planning, like the flower, like all the things that probably you went so much into, but like the flowers and deciding of where we were going to be and with the songs and everything was really nice. It all came together beautifully.
It did.
Okay, last question. This is an important one. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being, top, perfect. Best, yes. Yeah. How much do you love finally being able to call me your wife?
10.
Good answer.
Wow, did that take you long?
Yeah, you hesitated. I saw you were like thinking about it, like, shit, what do I say?
You know what? That small pregnant pause was like, is this a trick question? And then I was like, no, it's safe. You say yes. 10.
Cool. Awesome. That's it. That's all we have time for, guys. See you in the next episode.
Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Cheers.